great. Thanks for staying with us. And like I said, we are going to be talking about Earth Week and all that we have going on at our store for Earth Week starting on Monday. We do want to answer one more question before we start talking about Earth Week. So the next question that we had was about hardy hibiscus. And hardy hibiscus is the perennial hibiscus that some people will call a saucer hibiscus or dinner plate hibiscus, those kind of things. It's a big flat flower, not like tropical hibiscus that is like a trumpet-shaped flower. This is a big flat flower. It does have a stamen that comes right out from the middle. Sometimes it's in beautiful colors like deep maroons and bright reds and bright pinks and white with pink trim, purples. So it's a beautiful plant, and it comes from new stock every year. So this is where it gets to be a little confusing. A perennial is something that its foliage and stems together completely leave the plant every year, and it comes back from new root. A shrub, on the other hand, might be deciduous and lose all of its leaves in the fall and in the winter time and just gets new leaves on the same stems in the spring. So that's a shrub. But the perennial, all the stem, no matter if it gets woody or not throughout the year, it gets cut off, and the plant comes from the new plant comes from the old root, and all old plant tissue is all cut off and thrown away. So on the hardy hibiscus, that woody stalk that's still sticking up there if you didn't cut it off in the fall can just be cut completely off at the ground. Some people freak out about this because they're like, oh, well, it's a woody thing. That's the new leaves and the new flower is going to come back from that. It does not. It is a perennial, a true perennial. So even though that stalk seems woody and gets woody in the fall, it is not going to produce anything this year. So go ahead and cut it off right at the ground, and you will see new stems and new stalks coming up. You will not see them early. It is a plant that has to wait for its new growth until the temperatures are in the upper 50s and to the 60-degree mark before you will ever see new shoots. And I've known so many people, mid-May, their hardy hibiscus didn't have any new growth, and all of their other perennials were up and really growing, and so they dug it up and threw it away. And then they realized, some of them because they had a compost pile and they threw it in their compost, they saw it starting to grow in the compost pile. And that's exactly what it would probably start earlier in the compost pile because it's getting more sunlight, but you don't want to have to do this every year. So leave it in the ground, let it sit there, be patient. It has its timing. It blooms late into the season. It's not an early bloomer, so it's not hurting anything for it to just stay in the ground, and it will get started to grow as the temperatures warm up. So as those ground temperatures warm, you'll start to see it shooting out of the ground. And once the temperatures in like mid-June, and those temperatures of the ground is like close to 70 degrees, you will sometimes get 3 inches a day off of your hardy hibiscus growing. So don't get discouraged when your hardy hibiscus isn't coming up and doing great right away. You want to give it time and go ahead and cut that stem off, fertilize it just like you would the rest of your perennials, and let it go, and it will actually start having some nice new growth, but you won't notice it usually until about the end of May, and then in June is when you really start to see great new growth on your hardy hibiscus. Now, if you have questions that you would like to ask, we will give you an immediate answer, but we do answer them on the show as well. But you can do that by giving us a call at 330-455-5997. You can email me at cindypetitti@gmail.com. That's CINDYPETITTI@gmail.com. And I will get back with you. I'm usually pretty quick. This week, I'm sure I have not read through emails near as quickly, or I have just skimmed them and I haven't actually read them. So if you emailed me this week with a question, I might have missed it. But I will go back hopefully Sunday evening and look over those and make sure I didn't miss any questions. But you can ask that way, or you can always just come into the store. We would love to have you come in with your issues. If you do have something that you think might be an insect or a disease, we ask that you put it in in a Ziploc baggie if you're going to bring it in, or if you have it in a bucket or something like that, just come into the store, get one of us, and we'll come out to your car and actually look at it there for you. And then we can make a good diagnosis on what it is and how to treat it so that we can get it taken care of. And we're going to also, remember, always try to take care of it for you organically because we don't want to be contaminating our earth and with a bunch of different chemicals, which brings us to Earth Week. So Monday starts Earth Week. The 22nd of April is always Earth Week or Earth Day. And however it falls in the week, we always call that Earth Week. So Earth Day is Monday. And so we will be having a class on Earth Day. It will begin at 6:15, and we would love you to come out to the class. Especially if you've never been there, we would love you to come a little early so that you can walk through the greenhouses and see everything. We will be doing the classes in our cafe. We have tables there. We'll have coffee and a snack. You can see the animals if you haven't been there to see all the animals, the cows and the goats and the alpacas and all of the baby goats, so you can come out and visit everyone. But the class will begin at 6:15. It is on our Facebook page, so we did create an event for it. So if you want to go on Facebook and click that you're going, that would be great, so we know about how many people to expect. But the class on Monday is called Organic Gardening from Seed to Harvest and Everything Beyond. And so we're going to be talking a lot about how you have an organic garden from seed starting, or if you can't seed start yourself, how you can, of course, come to the garden center, come into the greenhouses and purchase a seedling. That's a plant that's already growing from the seed. We will have all of those and have them ready for you. We're going to be talking about herbs and the things that you can grow inside so that you can be cooking with fresh herbs year-round. And then how to harvest. And then if you have questions about canning or, any type of preserving, we will be answering those questions. We will have a question answer time at the end of the class that people can ask different gardening questions. And we usually just let that go on as long as we have questions. So we really don't have an end to the class, but after the class is over, anybody is free to go ahead and go. But if you have questions, you can always stay and ask those questions. Of course, there will be personnel there. So if you want to make purchases, you can do that at the same time and get it all done in one trip. But it's going to be a great class. We will be talking a lot about the importance of organics, why we eat organically, not just because we are terribly afraid of chemicals, but that is something because we really want to make sure that we are treating our body as a temple of the Holy Spirit and doing that by giving ourselves the food that God gave us, not that was created from a box in a laboratory. And so we want to make sure that people know why we're eating organically, but also how much better you can feel and how you can actually heal yourself with food. And our medicine is in our food. And so we'll be talking a lot about that. Then on Saturday again, which is the last day of Earth Week, on Saturday, we will be having a class at 10 a.m., and we call it the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. And then we'll be talking about the greatest form of recycling. And so I'm going to put that out to you right now. So if you can come to that class next Saturday, that would be great. But think about what would be the greatest form of recycling. What could we reuse a second time and it be so great that it could change lives? It could impact someone's life so greatly. So think about that. What might be the greatest form of recycling? And come to that class next Saturday morning at 10 o'clock and receive a gift if you know the greatest form of recycling at next Saturday's class. We will remind you about it next Saturday morning right here on the show also. We would love you to come to that class next Saturday morning. And that's going to be a great one. We're going to talk a lot about how to reduce the things that we're using, how to and what we can reuse, and then how to recycle efficiently and make it worth while for the companies that are doing it. Our Stark Tusquane Recycle District in our area does a great job, but it's amazing what people throw in recycle bins, things that are not recyclable, and it makes so much more work. And so we want to make sure that we're not doing that, but we want to make sure that we are recycling everything that we can so things aren't ending up in a landfill that could be recycled and saving our resources. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. Now, we do have one more thing that I wanted to mention to you. Someone had asked, am I done with corn gluten meal? Can the forsythia are in full bloom? The daffodils are in full bloom. I've noticed dandelions are already up. Can I still use corn gluten meal? Corn gluten meal can still be used, but it's probably too late for your lawns for crabgrass. But for dandelions, especially if you have a neighbor or there's a piece of property beside you that no one mows on a regular basis and the dandelions go to seed, they will blow into your yard. So if you do go ahead and use the corn gluten meal, even though it's too late for your crabgrass, you will stop additional dandelions from germinating because the seed that's blowing into your yard, or if you don't get yours mowed right away and they go to seed, the corn gluten meal will stop those seeds from germinating, which will help you in the long run. It will also help green up your lawn. And corn gluten meal is also a gem to use in your flower beds and in your vegetable gardens to help you with weeding. So when you're tilling your garden right now, go ahead and put your corn gluten meal in. If you're working in your flower beds before you mulch, put your corn gluten meal down. If you were a person that used other types of pre-emergence before, the corn gluten meal will work great for you still right before you mulch. So here we are at the end of another radio show. It goes so fast. I want to wish all of you a happy Easter. Remember, if you have questions, 330-455-5997. You can give me a shout, or you can email me at cindypetitti@gmail.com, cindypetitti@gmail.com, or better yet, stop out at the store at 5828 Columbus Road, right there on the corner of Columbus Road and Broadway. We'd love to see you. Please come out to the farmers market today. It will be a great time, so much fun, and great food to eat. And remember, it's all about the resurrection. Happy Easter, and have a great week.